Things you didn't know about Pirates of the Caribbean. It's one of the most popular film franchises, and no matter what you think of the movies, you have to admit that they're really fun to watch. Let's take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes secrets and tidbits about Pirates of the Caribbean. What Jack could have been. What would the Pirates of the Caribbean movies look like if Jack Sparrow was not Johnny Depp? It's interesting to hear that, at one point, Disney had Hugh Jackman in mind as the main character of the film series. However, the first person they asked to play the part was Robert De Niro, who later played a pirate in Stardust. De Niro, skeptic about how well the movie would do, turned down the role. When the studio asked Johnny Depp to join, he supposedly agreed because he thought it sounded fun. That sword fight scene. One of the most iconic scenes from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie was at the beginning when Captain Jack Sparrow and Will Turner meet and they fight at the blacksmith's. Remember all that dirt flying around as they swashbuckled? The studio revealed that dirt was actually chocolate powder. They even smeared chocolate all over Orlando Bloom's face to make him look dirty. Imagine how nice the air smelled while filming that scene. Johnny Depp's Captain Jack. If you look closely at Captain Jack Sparrow's teeth, you'll notice that they're gold. That little detail was Johnny Depp's idea. When he went to the dentist for the implants, Depp told them to add extra gold teeth because he knew that the studio executives wouldn't want him to have too many. Depp took a lot of creative liberties with the character. After he acquired the script, Depp turned Jack into a character that's vastly different from what the studio initially wanted. Keira Knightley's confidence. It's difficult to comprehend that Keira Knightley didn't think she was good enough for the role of Elizabeth Swann. Even when packing to head to the set, Knightley didn't bring too many things because she was almost certain they'd fire her. Clearly, that never happened. We do have to remember that Knightley was only 17 years old when she was cast. Her mother even had to accompany her everywhere she went for the film. So maybe that feeling of being not good enough might have been because she was so young. A Whole Town. The fifth installment, Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, featured a town that Depp is dragged through the streets of during his hijinks. With a house, by the way. Those scenes were filmed near the Gold Coast of Australia, in which the crew built the entire town just for the movie. In the film, they needed to remove a whole house and pull it across town. So, of course, the filmmakers just made a whole town. The entire town took 4 months to build. Most of the scenes for the most recent movie were filmed in Australia. The Lord of the Pirates. Orlando Bloom had an Elvish tattoo drawn on his wrist after filming The Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring in 2001. The gesture was to commemorate being part of such an experience, which is all fine and dandy. However, when he had to film the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie a few years later, he had to make sure to cover it up. For the most part, he and the script supervisor, or whoever was looking over that stuff, did a good job. However, there are a few scenes where you do see the Elvish on his wrist. An amazing gift. Here's a cute story. Geoffrey Rush, who plays the one and only Captain Barbossa, got a nice present from one of his co-stars from Pirates of the Caribbean. Was it from Johnny Depp? No. Orlando Bloom? Nope. Pablo, one of the Capuchin monkeys that play the monkey named Jack, gifted Rush a wrapped present after filming one of the movies. Inside was a painting, an original by Pablo. How adorable is that? Sparrow's eyesight. Any picture of Johnny Depp in real life will usually show him wearing glasses. In many of his roles, he must wear contact lenses. He was outside for a lot of the scenes in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and he couldn't wear regular sunglasses. Instead, Depp wore special contact lenses that could transition into sunglasses in the sun so that he wouldn't squint during scenes. All That Sea. It makes sense that a lot of the cast and crew had to deal with seasickness. It's a pirate movie after all. Ships and lots of water is conducive to the story. Lots of people there on set were subject to that rocking back and forth, and Keira Knightley was no exception. To combat that feeling, Knightley took motion sickness pills. She ended up feeling drowsy from the medication and fell asleep on the ship, much to the amusement of Orlando Bloom, who made fun of her for it. Knightley commented that the experience was very unglamorous. Captain Keith Richards. At first, Disney hated the way Johnny Depp played Captain Jack Sparrow, according to Depp himself. Depp also adds that he based a lot of his performance on cartoon character Pepe Le Pew and Rolling Stones member Keith Richards. It seemed like fate then that Keith Richards later played Jack Sparrow's father in the sequels. The Disney references. Disneyland is full of hidden Mickeys, Mickey Mouse head silhouettes, and it's become a bit of a game to find all of them. One hidden Mickey Mouse shape that you won't find at Disneyland, but you will find elsewhere is in the first Pirates movie. At the opening of the movie where the Disney logo plays, clouds shift over the Disney castle. The clouds form the shape of Mickey Mouse's ears and face. The movie is chock full of references from the Disneyland ride, such as the scene where the prisoners are trying to coax the dog with the keys towards them. A whole new world. Okay, wrong Disney movie, but we had to mention this one. A fantasy period piece movie requires a lot of costumes and production design. Some of that production design means building a whole underwater set. The set, built from scratch, included crafted coral and plants. It may not look it, but producer Jerry Bruckheimer revealed that the floor was made of ground-up rubber from tires. It makes sense that the studio put so much effort into the sets. The third installment, At World's End, is one of the most expensive movies ever made. A real green flash. In pirate lore, a green flash in the sky acts as a sign of a soul that returned from the world of the dead, or Davy Jones Locker. It's a phenomenon that was included in At World's End, where audiences saw a green flash at sunset when Davy Jones raised the Wicked Wench from the depths of the sea. Newsflash, see what we did there? Green flashes are real occurring phenomena that happen either right after sunset or right before sunrise. Its purpose probably doesn't align with pirate beliefs though. Cover up those tattoos. Johnny Depp is rather edgy in terms of style, and he has a lot of tattoos. Captain Jack Sparrow wears a lot of effects on his person, though his arms and chest are pretty exposed in the films. To cover up Johnny Depp's tattoos, the makeup and costume people smeared charcoal all over his arms and other exposed parts of his body. It made him look even more like a pirate, so it all worked out. They gave him fake tattoos, including a sparrow one, which Depp replicated later on as a real tattoo. From left to right. Poor Jeffrey Rush. He didn't think that audiences would pay attention to him amongst the likes of Keira Knightley or Johnny Depp if he shared the screen with them. What did he do to remedy that? Rush demanded he be positioned on the left side of the screen in every scene he shared with someone else. He believed that because most people read from left to right, if he stood on the left, people can notice him better. Rush admitted this in one of the DVD commentaries. Perhaps he underestimated how much fans would love his character anyway. One of the best ever. Even though the critic reviews of the last couple Pirates movies weren't that great, it didn't stop Disney from making 5 installments and receiving their money's worth. Pirates of the Caribbean ranks as the 17th highest grossing franchise of all time. The highest grossing film of the series was 2006's Dead Man's Chest, which also ranks as the top grossing pirate movie of all time, beating out Hook and The Goonies. At wit's end. Creating films isn't always smooth sailing. Ask the cast and crew of At World's End. The script wasn't fully finished when they first started filming, with the last scene written on a napkin. Apparently, the filming of the movie wasn't complete until a few days before the release date. How does that even work? The run was apparently more than 3 hours, so of course editors had a task cut out for them. It was one of the most expensive movies ever made, costing Disney more than $300 million. It did almost make $1 billion at the box office. Captain Jack's leather hat. When it came to designing the main character's costume, a lot of thought went into making this fictional character come to life, and eventually it became iconic. Costume designer Penny Rose and Johnny Depp both worked on the creation of Jack's wardrobe. They specifically picked a tricorn for the leather hat he wears. To make it wholly unique to Jack, no other characters wore a leather hat as part of their costume. For the most part, Jack wore the same thing, the silk tweed coat he wears, a choice of Johnny Depp's as well. Creating canon while joking. Depp has more power on the influence of pirates other than being a big star that draws in the crowd. Not only did he take the creation of bringing Captain Jack to screen and had a hand in the way he would look and be portrayed, he was also involved in another character's shaping too. Barbossa's first name isn't said until At World's End when he's called Hector. The producers weren't the ones behind this naming though. In a DVD commentary for Curse of the Black Pearl, Depp joked that Barbossa's first name was Hector. The name stuck because all the fans thought Depp was serious. In turn, the filmmakers had no choice but to keep it in order not to confuse people. Thus, Hector Barbossa was born. Nearly at the top spot. Before we reveal numero uno, we have a question for you. If you were a pirate sailing the 7 seas, what would your memorable pirate name be? Let us know in the comments below. 1. Johnny Depps Improv. Let's pose that question we had at the beginning of the list again. What would Pirates of the Caribbean look like if Jack Sparrow wasn't Johnny Depp? For one, his costume would be different, and for another, the iconic lines from the series wouldn't exist. You know that "Bring me that horizon" line at the end of the first movie? Improv by Depp. You know that hilarious and strange jar of dirt bit in At World's End? He improvised that too, as well as came up with Jack's catchphrase, savvy. Of course, Depp also wanted Jack to have no nose, so thank goodness Disney said a solid no to that one. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you liked today's video, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a thing.